appreciate the subscribing. And yeah, it's free to support. Like, comment, share goes a long way. So thank you for supporting the stream and just hanging out with us. We'll go on some metaverse adventures here in the coming weeks with Colorful. We'll plan out some things. We're both kind of limited right now in terms of having time for the metaverse. I'm really focused in on this podcast. Indefatigable Artist. Every week a new podcast episode drops. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, check it out. Every week putting out that podcast. That is my 2023 goal. I'm just hitting that one spot, you know. We're digging through the earth. We're just hitting that one spot. We're not going after different holes here. We're digging one hole and that's it. As hard as that's going to be, because my mind, I like to be working on a lot. But even within this, you know, putting out a lot of content, and I'm also refining my joy of creating content. You know, it was looking at it as an art form. It's been pretty fun these past couple weeks, and taking content creation more seriously this year. I feel now that I've got, you know, the two books here. I got the two books. I've seen them to full completion now. I've done everything so far that I can do. I have written the books, the audiobooks, ebooks, poetry albums, and now this podcast. I feel very much accomplished, and I really felt that after last Friday. At a point that I don't know if I have truly experienced as an artist, of saying, like, I saw this idea, I saw it all the way through, and just overcame all of those obstacles along the way to feel like I have something that is going to live on after I am, and saying, like, if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, like, I feel very accomplished with what I'd be leaving behind with these books, and then, you know, having my voice reading them, and having the idea of this podcast, and at least, you know, getting that first episode out. And it's just, it felt right, and it feels right to continue this podcast, and I feel very complete with that and content. And if you know me, that is a big hurdle, I would say. I feel like perfection is a state never reached, and you're constantly chasing perfection, or what you see as perfection. However I saw these books, however I had originally wanted to do the audio book, you have like that high mark, and I tried to like go there, but not realizing how in depth and time consuming doing an audiobook really is. For one person to not only be the voice actor for all of the different characters, to then edit all of that. I mean, they're both over 10 hours long, and if you think of like a studio album or something that someone puts out, you know, that's like an hour to 90 minutes, you know. So times that, you know, by 10. I'm not saying like there's not a lot of production within that hour, and it is a completely different medium. I'm just saying, like, in terms of length of time, and just wanting to get that step done. And so there was a bit of a compromise there as an artist of, you know, wanting that high bar, and that high bar will be set with the animation, because that will be the ultimate goal with these books is to get them as animated films. And after completing this second book, and kind of seeing new content and how, books are coming into fruition and how scripts are being written right now, it's a lot of shows. And I most definitely wouldn't be opposed to taking these books and making them a show where each chapter or two is an episode. I could definitely see that with these books. The first book has 32 chapters, so that could be like 16 episodes probably, 15 episodes. And then the second book, they're both about the same length, but there's just more chapters in the second book because the pacing's really fast in that one. But I still think each chapter could be, even as fast paced as they are pretty big productions. I would love to see it as an animated series or animated film. I could definitely see either or, and definitely wouldn't be opposed. And I feel like in the streaming arena, if there's not a want for original content, I feel like there should be. I feel like some scripts are just so overplayed where it's like you've seen it over and over again. It's just literally a different color, a different different visual, but the story there is the same. And I feel like with Blease, there's an original story that I have not seen in the science fiction world, and I've done a deep dive of this, and there's just so many elements within these stories that are truly original, and that's why I never wanted to give up anything of these books to a publisher. I've stuck with it to say, like, these are original, these are completely original, because I really want to. And I understand there's going to most likely be some compromise, but it's going to ultimately be me having to decide what that compromise is. It won't be in the hands of someone else to say, this is what we're going to compromise on, and I just have to deal with it. George R.R. Martin type situation, which, the first 6 seasons, you can't really be too mad. I'm sure he's got a lot of gripes even within that. But after that, that's just devastating as a writer. Like that, that is just worst case scenario, especially for a writer like that, where he loves his characters so much and he spends so much time writing these books. And knowing his, history of writing, like, that had to really be upsetting. I would really like to know more about that, but that I know they had so many problems even before, season 6, where they kind of just like went off on their own, and weren't really consulting him anymore. So, but still, that's gotta sting. But I guess you gotta just be happy with it becoming a show, even though it may not have been what you wanted as a writer. But, I am at this point Blease, and I have a certain vision, and now with the rise of the AI technology I've been really using recently, and bringing some of these characters to life. And is it doing all of the characters the way I see it? No, but it is doing certain ones really, really well. That has me just so excited to do more with that. And again, it's like you're still trying to like hammer away at this podcast, but there's just so many things, man. There's just so many things to do. But podcast is number one priority. I can't help myself if I wander creatively. But that has the wheels spinning so much, and it's very unexpected. I had seen it on the timeline and whatnot, like very aware of it, but seeing how well it is bringing these characters to life just has me very excited to try some things with it. And maybe put some things together, and it will definitely be a resource to show, some animation studios. I really think there is a lot of potential with this. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I kind of hint about it in episode 2, and we'll definitely be talking about that more, because I do want to incorporate these AI characters and the characters from the book with this podcast. And I want to do some fun things with that. So I kind of hint in this second episode, that there are going to be some characters in this podcast, and there's going to be different characters, and you get a little taste of that in this episode. Again, I want to build like this foundation of this podcast so that there is a thorough understanding of where I'll be going. And like I say in the trailer, like, it's not going to be linear. It's not going to be like a linear story. It's going to be all over the place, but I feel like we're building like this rocket ship. So we're like building the foundation of the rocket ship. Then we're going to go off in the rocket ship, and we're going to see this free floating planet of Consumptia. We're going to see Neptune. We're going to be way out there in the stars, but we'll get there eventually. And I'm really, really looking forward to it, of seeing where this goes, because it's going to be writing in real time. I've been writing a lot more recently, so very much